Hi everyone, welcome back to Psych 482. I hope you all had a nice weekend. If you can believe it, we are already in the third week of our semester, so time together is flying by. I hope so far the first 2 weeks have been valuable in introducing you to um, the field of IO, as well as introducing you to some key foundational concepts for job selection, personnel selection. Last week, we reviewed and defined what we mean by job performance. So, as you read in the textbook and in the module, job performance is the ultimate criterion for IO psychologists. We're really interested in understanding and measuring how employees are performing. But while this sounds quite simple, it's actually a very complicated process because job performance has many components, as we reviewed. When we talk about job performance, we are actually talking about task performance, how people perform physical work duties. We're talking about organizational citizenship behaviors. On the other side of that, counterproductive work behaviors. So, those bad things that people do at work that take away from good performance, as well as adaptive performance and how employees can be flexible in their jobs. So, defining task performance, defining job performance is a difficult endeavor, but a necessary one. So, this week, what we're doing is transitioning into something called job analysis. And job analysis is a systematic evaluation of a given job, of a job's content. So, here, when we perform a job analysis, we are looking at the many components of a job, the tasks that must be done, the knowledge, skills, and abilities that are required in order to perform well in that job. And as you'll come to find out, job analysis is really the foundational cornerstone of future things that IO psychologists and human resource management professionals will need to perform. For example, job analysis provides a foundation for selecting and hiring employees, provides a foundation for looking at promotions and compensation, as well as performance reviews and training. Basically, we need to understand what's required of an employee, what's required of a job in order to know who to select for that job, in order to know whether or not somebody is performing as they should. So, if our job is not well defined, how do we know whether or not somebody is meeting the standards for that job? In addition, having job analysis can alert us when maybe we need more training. So, we have a definition of a job and we recognize that perhaps we have some deficits in our employees. Where can we train in order to improve their job performance? So, job analysis, while it's traditionally been described as a more boring topic in IO psychology, is really important for setting a foundation for future topics, as well as for understanding all of these other key components of managing personnel in organizations. And also, job analysis is quite complex. It takes a long time. It's very time intensive, very resource intensive. And for that reason, some organizations do not adequately complete a job analysis, but that has serious consequences for them as it comes time to do these other important functions like hiring or performance appraisal. So, it's worth the expense up front, but it is a time intensive process, especially when organizations aren't looking at just one job. They could be, in some cases, looking at 100 jobs. So, this week, you will be reading more in depth about job analysis, and then you will be tasked with interviewing an individual in your life about their job. And so this will give you kind of a brief introduction to what job analysis is like. So for that assignment, you will do a brief interview and then you'll compare what that interviewee told you about their job with an objective job analysis in the ONET online resource. So I think it'll be a fun week. It's a different kind of assignment. You will be submitting a Word document to Canvas rather than working on the discussion board. So be sure to visit that activities, the assignment description as early in the week as possible. That way you don't get behind or fail to recognize that the assignment's a little different this week. So in addition to completing that activity, you will also need to complete quiz 3. So again, all quizzes and assignments are due Sunday nights by 11:59 p.m. And you don't want to get behind in your assignments because getting behind early on can be detrimental for you later in the semester. In regards to your assignments you had just turned in, discussion post number 2 about job performance, I should have these graded for you by Friday. And if you have any questions about the feedback I provide or about the assignment, please let me know. And I have a few tips for you just as you continue to engage in the discussion board and continue to complete assignments, because I want you to do as well as possible. I want you all to be successful and get good grades. So the first tip is to use a topic sentence. So when you're answering each component of the discussion board, it's important to include a topic sentence that introduces what you will be talking about. So for example, if the discussion post asks you to list an example of counterproductive work behavior, you might start off by saying, one example of a counterproductive work behavior is employee theft, rather than just listing employee theft. So you want to be in the habit of fully describing your ideas in a formal way. The second is to check your discussion posts for spelling and grammar. You want to make sure that these are following guidelines for good grammar. It eases in the reader's understanding of your discussion posts. And so one thing that I might suggest is there's an app online called Grammarly. This is a free product that will read and check your responses online for grammar and for spelling. So it's a really good way to help make sure that you're putting out products and written assignments that are easy to read and follow these conventions. And lastly is a reminder for students to utilize citations. So when you're referring to an idea that someone else has already talked about, you want to be sure to cite that individual, that author. And if you're going to use a direct quote, you need to not only cite, but then list the page number from where you got that. So if you're using a direct quote from the textbook, you'll need to cite the textbook, but also list the page number from where you got that citation. Really important skill set to get in the habit of citing other people. That way we give credit to those authors. So perfectly fine to refer to other people's ideas, but we want to make sure that we're properly citing whose ideas they are. So that is your task for this week. I hope that you are having a really productive semester. And if there's anything at all I can help you with, please don't hesitate to send me an email via Canvas or send me an actual email. And of course, you can always reach me via Google Chats on Wednesday nights if you'd like to have more of a back and forth discussion. Okay, so have a great week. Thank you so much for your participation and hope to hear from you guys soon. Take care.